right, I will call to order the regular meeting of the Common Council of the City of Platteville for Tuesday, October 11th, 2016, and we will start with roll call.
Don Francis,
Here.
Tom Nall,
Here.
Ken Killian has been excused, Eileen Nichols,
Here.
Amy Seaboth Wilson. Here. Catherine Westaby. Here. And Barbara Doss.
Here. The first item is consideration of the consent calendar, and I guess I should mention before we start that if you have something on our agenda that you would like to comment on, or if you just want to make a citizen comment, observation, or petition, there are green sheets on that table over there, and we ask that you fill that out and hand it to the city clerk so that we know that you actually want to speak on a subject. So again, consideration of the consent calendar, the following items may be approved on a single motion and vote due to their routine nature of previous discussion. Please indicate to the council president if you would prefer separate discussion and action. A is council minutes from the September 27th meeting. B is payment of bills. C, financial report for September. D is appointments to boards and commissions. I have none this evening, but the city is still looking for volunteers to serve on, especially the Board of Appeals, and also the Senior Center Commission Board. Licenses, 1 year and 2 year operator license to sell or serve alcohol. Those are included in the packet. And we have 2 permit requests, a run permit to Tricor Insurance for Thursday's Child, the 5 kilometer on Saturday, December 3rd, and a parade permit to Family Advocates for Domestic Violence Awareness Week on Tuesday, October 18th. Is there a motion?
Make a motion, we approve the consent calendar as presented.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second, and we'll vote.
Francis,
Yes.
Nall,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Seaboth Wilson,
Yes.
Westaby,
Yes.
Doss.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, Jan, do we have any? No comments? Okay, no comments or observations or petitions this evening. So we'll go on to reports, which are also in our packet. The first item is Commission on Aging, Westaby.
Nothing to add.
Water and Sewer Commission, Killian, Seaboth, Wilson, or Null.
Nothing to add.
Nothing.
Board of Appeals for Zoning, Null.
Nothing to add.
Museum Board, Seaboth, Wilson.
Nothing to add.
Historic Preservation Commission would be Counselor Killian, and he's absent this evening. Library Board, Westaby.
Nothing to add.
Police and Fire Commission, I have nothing to add. We had a meeting, and we'll be having another meeting, still recruiting for police officers. Plan Commission, the item that we discussed at the last Plan Commission is on this evening for information and discussion, so we'll talk about that then. Other reports, City Attorney itemized report, Water and Sewer financial report, Airport financial report, and Department progress reports are all in your packet. Any questions or comments on any of that information?
Done.
All right, seeing none, we'll go on to the first action item, the rectangular rapid flashing beacon. We do have someone who would like to speak for informational purposes only. We'll start with Howard and then ask you to speak.
Okay. UW Platteville is recommending that the city allow the installation of rectangular rapid flashing beacons at selected pedestrian crossings on city streets near campus. They have an enclosed map with the locations. One is on Greenwood Avenue near Glenview Commons. Next one would be at Washington and Main Street. The next one would be mid-block of Hickory Street between Main and Pine by the Ulsvik Center. The next one would be at Marquee and Southwest Road. And then the last one would be Southwest Road by parking lot 28. That's the parking lot that's partway down the hill from Southwest Hall down to that parking area. They're high traffic areas. They have other signs that are push button activated and they don't get activated generally. The proposal would use sensors to detect pedestrians approaching the crossing, and then they would flash to warn drivers and then shut off when people are crossed. And they're proposing 4 signs per crossing, 1 on each side of the street facing in each direction, and that the university would absorb the cost of installation and maintenance. They're looking at additional ones near Center for the Arts in the future, but only after they've decided on a design for the reconstruction of that parking lot. Community Safe Routes Committee reviewed this, and they believe that the crossing at the mid-block by the Olsvik Center is an intermediate solution. There's another there's another process undergoing through the university. They had a study done, and one of the recommendations of that study is to eliminate parking in that block to expand the visibility. They think that part of the reason is why people don't stop is the visibility because of parked cars there. So they're thinking that this would be an intermediate solution until something like that happens. From what I understand, that that study is being reviewed through whatever processes the university has, and once they're approve of that study, they would bring that forward to the city for possible action and adoption. So we're not at that point yet. But that was one, and then they were also thinking that at a certain point, when we look at if we add sidewalks on Chestnut Street, they would be looking at the possibility of down there at Chestnut and Gridley, either to get people to sidewalks or for crossings over to the parking areas that are owned by the Browning family. That would be another potential area to look at for the future. Those were the two comments by the Safe Routes Committee.
Any questions for Howard? All right, we have one person who has to speak for informational purposes. If you would come up to the microphone, please, and give your name and your address.
Hi, my name is Peter Davis. I'm the Director of Facilities at the University, One University Plaza. I'm basically interested in doing this to make sure that we maintain the safety of our pedestrians coming in and out of the campus, and also to and bring this to the council for input, so we're good neighbors, basically, for the community. So I basically was just here if there's any questions at all on any proposals that we had.
Do you have any questions?
I asked the last time, Pete, I understand you're putting basically 4 signs at each location.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that is due to visibility in some of the locations, and I don't think that I'm 100% saying I have to do that. So if that's something that's a concern, especially I understand in the residential areas, which I can understand as being a concern. So I was really aiming for that at the real high traffic areas, Southwest Road, Greenwood Avenue by our res halls and things like that. So I'm flexible in that regard.
Any other question?
Oh, I think, Counselor Nichols, that you brought up that the Washington Street crossing now should be looked at, because it actually, the crossing crosses to the sidewalk side of the street.
There is a sidewalk that goes east and west on that
Yeah.
side, but.
It's an
the
L-shaped
cross- yeah.
crosswalk right now. You have to
Yeah.
cross twice, and that is a concern that I think I need to talk to Howard a little bit more about too, because that by putting these crosswalk signs up, it won't necessarily solve somebody cutting across the triangle. So, okay,
All right, thank you.
thanks.
All right, there's no other questions. Is there a motion?
I'm gonna recuse myself from this vote.
Okay.
I work at the university and with Pete, so it would be not good for me to vote on this.
Okay. So is there a motion?
Motion to approve the RFP for UW Platteville
with the assigned locations.
All right, is there a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second? We'll vote. Oh, I'm sorry.
I just want the caveat added that if in fact this is an issue for the residents, I've had a couple of residents along Main Street talk to me about the mid-block, you know, if it's gonna be disturbing to their, so I'd just like, you know, some assurance that if there's a lot of residential issues, that those be addressed.
Yeah, and I think that's something that we can bring back, Barb. This is a new idea, and I
Right.
think it's worth,
And
yeah.
I don't oppose it, I'm just saying
Right,
that.
no, I understand you don't oppose it, and I think that watching it, and if people do make a comment that it's bothersome, then I think we go to the university and bring those concerns. Okay, so we have a motion, and a second, and we'll vote.
Francis,
Yes.
Nall,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Westerby,
Yes.
Doss,
Yes.
motion carries.
All right, information and discussion item this evening, rezoning of 200 North Court Street.
Yes, the property at 200 North Court Street, it's the corner of Court and Furnace Street. It's the Rolling Hills Church. They've outgrown their facility, looking for a new location. They've put that property up for sale. They have a potential buyer that's interested in it, the owner of Blue Note Music. However, the property is currently zoned institutional, which allows churches and schools and other government uses and very little else. So it does not work with the current zoning and his proposed use. So the proposal would be to rezone that property to the CBT, Central Business Transition District, which, as the name implies, is intended for the area between the downtown area and the surrounding residential areas. That district allows actually the institutional district uses plus some of the uses downtown and some of the residential uses. So it's kind of a blend of those areas. And it really is intended for that area between those two, which is exactly what this property is. So it seems to be a very appropriate request, in my opinion. The Plan Commission considered this at their meeting and also recommended approval. This will be a public hearing at your next meeting. Any questions?
Yeah, any questions, anybody?
Were there any people who spoke for, against, or in general about this at the meeting?
None at the meeting. I did receive a letter in favor, which I believe I put in your packet.
Yep. Somebody who actually lives on North Court Street, so he was in favor of it. Okay, any other questions? All right, then, the next item is a closed session, so we would need a motion to go
we
into
have-
close. I'm sorry?
We have
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm looking at my old agenda, and we do have one more item, exercise of options for bus taxi service in 2017, Howard. Thanks.
Yes. Under the terms of contracts with both of our service providers, we had a 2-year contract, 2015 and 2016, with 3 option years for the 2017 through 2019. Under the contract, if both sides wish to continue service during the option years, the hourly rates are increased per the Consumer Price Index for August. And so DOT provided that to us when those figures came out in mid to late September, 1.1%. And so that would increase the taxi hourly rate by that 1.1%, and then the bus service by 1.1%. Both Running Inc. and Stratton have signed paperwork saying that they wish to continue providing transportation services for 2017. And now it's time for the city to decide whether or not it wants to continue those services. So at this point, staff is recommending approval of these options and allowing the city manager to sign the paperwork accordingly.
Questions or comments?
This is this would option it for 1 additional year,
Correct.
not for 3.
Each option year has to be approved separately. if the council wishes to delegate that to the city manager for 2018 and 19, you may do so.
Any other questions?
Has the transit committee met? Has there been a report on the transit that's available? Is there a report that's available?
There is no
Use it.
report yet at this time. I'm working to try to get a committee together. It's a little bit difficult working to try to get some of the university members for that committee.
Anything else? All right, hearing nothing, then if someone would make a motion to go into closed session, please?
I move we go to closed session per statute, I'll get there, 1985, parent 1, parent E, deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business. This session will address consideration of a development proposal for the former Pioneer Ford properties.
There's a second.
Second.
The motion is second and we'll vote.
Francis,
Yes.
Nall,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Seaboth Wilson, oh, I'm sorry, she left. Westerby,
Yes.
Doss,
Yes.
motion carries.
All right.